Good evening, everybody. This is Huge Pop from the Huge Pop Entertainment. I know I spelled his name wrong. It's WOLF, not OLFE. But tonight on the Huge Pop Entertainment, we have the guest is from ECW. He has the ECW tag team and television titles. He's embodied hardcore, extreme spirit promotion. It is the one, the only PitBull #1, Gary Wolf. How you doing tonight, my friend?
What's happening, guys? Pleasure to be on your show, brother.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you, Bill, for setting this up. I appreciate it. I'm going to ask the same question I asked our guest the first time because I'm interested in how was wrestling as a kid growing up? What did you watch? Did you like the business, or tell us about your childhood with wrestling?
I loved the business. I honestly look forward to watching wrestling because I used to watch wrestling with my grandpa every Saturday morning. That's when I realized where Hulk Hogan was, the Iron Sheik, and Superfly Jimmy Snuka jumping off of the cage on Don Morocco. I mean, I was young. I mean, I was a little older then, but I used to watch with my grandpa, and it was with Bob Backlund doing the steps on that one show. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
All right, Bill.
All right, so I talked to PitBull a couple of days ago. So where did you start? Which company did you start for?
Start, or what school I go to, or what company did I start with first?
We'll go with the school and then the company.
School was the Monster Factory in New Jersey, where many, 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 many guys graduated from that school.
Mm-hmm.
From the Big Show to the Headbangers, the Pitbulls, to King Kong Bundy, Godfather, the Tonka, the Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, the real Nature Boy Buddy Rogers. He's the one that opened it originally.
Wow.
So, and then Larry Sharp and Charlie Fulton took it over. So Matt Riddle just came out of there. Sheamus was there. Priest was there. You know what I mean? People don't get it, man. That place made fucking superstars.
Would you say that's the elite of the elites in training schools?
I would say, yeah. As far as the top 5 schools, they're in that top 5.
Okay. And is there any key lessons you learned from the Monster Factory and the guys that trained you to excel in the business like you did?
Back then, it was old school. You know what I mean? It was more about respect than flippity floppity spots. You understand what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's about telling the story in psychology, not how many flips can you do and jump on a guy's head on the outside and break his freaking neck. You know what I mean? And what the fuck? You know what I mean? That doesn't tell a story. That's not believable. You know what I mean? No. This is not a ninja fucking movie, a kung fu movie. You know what I'm saying? With cables and shit. What's that gonna be next? I mean, shit. We've already used cables and look what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Bill, you got another one?
Yes. So 1987, 1988. Where was the PitBulls then?
We were in Wildwood, New Jersey, on the beach. I had a business on the beach, a cheesesteak place, and on the boardwalk. My family was into that business, so I was already a corny.
Okay.
And one day somebody said, "Hey, at the gym I was at, you want to do security?" And I did security for a show. And we snuck in the building early. And it was like, wow, man, let's jump in the ring. It's already set up. This is when Raw would tape back in the day, in Wildwood, New Jersey Convention Center. So they would tape Raw and shit like that. It wasn't live. So, I got to see the British Bulldogs. I got to see Cowboy Bob Orton, all these dudes that were cool shit. And before that, we were bumping in the ring, and dude, I was hurt for 2 weeks, man. I couldn't even go to the gym. Me and my partner, we were going to be bodybuilders, but I realized there's no money in that business. You know what I'm saying? Without killing yourself, more than wrestling. So I remember Dick Worley was there. It was me, Anthony, Crybaby Waldo, and Andy Bernowski, who's Leatherface, the Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's my boy. So he was in there. He looked at him and said, "Holy shit!" 'Cause he was big. He's like 6'7", 6'6", and big. And he was like, "He'll be the next Hulk Hogan." I'm like, "Nah, man, he's going to Hollywood." And he did. He got some gigs there. But yeah. So Dick Worley, that was the first time I met him, and that right away I was like, "Hell no, man! That ring, because I don't know how to hit the ropes. I don't know how to take a bump." So of course I hurt myself. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I wasn't trained. So to me, it was like, screw that shit, man. I don't want to do it. And Anthony was the same way. I don't want to do it. And then next thing you know, we healed up and we started thinking about it. And no bullshit, we were on the beach. So what do? We went in the water about up to our knees. And we started practicing suplexes. All kinds of, yeah, that's what we were doing. And we were like teaching ourselves, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing really what the hell we were doing. We just knew to protect each other's head and neck. You know what I'm saying? So we knew that. But he was like, after the summer, I remember he called me up and said, "Yo, I'm going to go to the Monster Factory." And believe it or not, dude, the Monster Factory is 45 minutes away from where we lived in the same town of Hamilton, New Jersey.
Wow.
You know, when most of these guys, I mean, I'll give you an example, The Big Show and The Godfather, he came out of there as the Bear because he went to Japan right away. But those guys came from Las Vegas. Okay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, people move from state to state to go to good school, if they're serious. You know what I'm saying? So we were very fortunate that we were only 45 minutes away from the Monster Factory.
Wow.
What kind of investment is it to get into the Monster Factory for a star?
Back then it was I paid $3,000.
Wow.
But Larry looked at us and saw potential because we already had the look. We were already big for our age. So we always worked out. I've been working out since I was 16 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
16, 17. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it happened. And, that's when Larry was just like, okay, because I said, look, I don't have the 3,000 all at once. He's like, no problem. Give me 500 a month. And then eventually we paid off and he was cool. And he knew he saw money, so he managed us. Our first tour ever, I never left the country, man. Okay? The first tour ever was to New Zealand.
Wow.
In 1988 against the British Bulldogs.
That'd be something, man. So
and that was about 2-week tour.
Wow. So I have a guy, Teddy Smith. He's a referee for an indie promotion I go with. Larry Stripe was amazing. Trained Glenn Ruth, Prime Time, and Amy Lee. So Larry Stripe trained you then. So
Charlie Fulton as well.
Okay, Charlie Fulton. Okay. So the PitBulls, right? Forming the PitBulls. How did the partnership with PitBull number 2, Anthony Dante, I hope I said that right, initially formed? What was the concept when you guys formed that PitBull 2? PitBulls.
We were just in the working out at the school, and one day Cowboy Bob Orton came into school, looked around, went in Larry's office. He took off after a couple hours, and Larry called a meeting and said, look, I'm going to mention your name. I want you to stay after school. So we stayed after, and he picked us and 2 other guys and said, look, you guys, or it was me, Anthony, and Johnny Hotbody. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Johnny Hotbody, yep.
Yeah, so he goes, you 3 guys stay here, everybody else go to fuck home. You know what I mean? And one other guy stay, whatever. And he goes, Vince is going to start coming in, and he wants you guys to come down there and work. So we need you to drive to Niagara Falls and do some job matches, dark matches. You know what I'm saying? You know how it was back in the day in WWF. You'd go there, and to me, it was experience, man. I had the best experience people dream of. because eventually he put me and Anthony on the tri-state area. So anytime Vince McMahon was in Philly, Jersey, or New York, we knew we were working that weekend. Okay, we got locked in that deal, which was okay and cool because eventually he turned to taking us on tours. I mean, I'd go on tour and wrestle Brutus Beefcake and Jimmy Snuka for 2 weeks in Europe and Germany and shit like that, me and Anthony. And to me, it was experience. We were looking out. Like, this was awesome, man, you know? We were in the right place at the right time, you know? Gorilla Monsoon saw us on TV.
Wow.
He was doing commentating with Vince, and we were going against the British Bulldog. I mean, the Heart Foundation. And he watched that match, and Gorilla was just tapping Vince on the leg, like, yo, we got to sign these guys. We got to sign these guys. We got to sign these guys. Because, you know, we didn't complain. We did our job. You know, it was cool. So, but Gorilla's from New Jersey as well as we are, like 20 minutes from Hamilton. So he had our back, kind of, you know. So that's when Vince told Larry Sharp, you know, I want these guys to start hitting these territories. Because I was lucky. I got into Jerry Lawler's territory. I got into Jeff Jarrett's territory, Carlos Colon's territory, and then South Atlantic, which was Paul Jones and George Scott. You know what I'm saying? Which I was in the Mecca. I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina, man.
Damn.
Hanging out with Flair and shit.
That's impressive. Absolutely. Bill.
You mentioned Tri-State. Tri-State later went into ECW. How was the transition?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I loved Tri-State, man. They kept us busy in the 80s, you know what I'm saying? And they took care of us because once we got our contract from Japan, it was like, you know, Todd Gordon was like, I don't even have to think about it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, absolutely. So, I mean, until we got TV is when I was like, holy shit, you know, because I was going back and forth to Japan and it was just different, you know what I mean? But once I saw Sandman on TV when I came, because I had to get knee surgery when I got back from Japan. So I saw Hack on TV and I was like, at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, what? And instead of saying Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, it said Eastern Championship Wrestling. I was like, what the hell is this? I was like, they made it. I was like, oh, holy shit, they made it on TV. So that's when I called Todd Gordon and Sandman, actually. I said, yo, what's up? You know what I mean? And they said, come to the building. And that's what I did. You know, I mean, and that's how I went back there. Because Anthony went to Germany because I had an injury. I'm not going to, you know, he needs to make money. He went to Germany and tugged up with Larry Cameron. Because Larry, you know, was already there, so it was cool.
So Paul Heyman. So I've read in my research, I see that there's some possible friction between you guys. What was it like working with Paul Heyman and management at ECW? Did they treat you guys fairly?
Yeah, I mean, when the time came to have our back, they didn't have our back. But regardless, I mean, I enjoyed working with Paul. Paul's a fucking genius. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say he's not.
Right.
But I mean, he actually helped my career. I mean, I'll be honest with you. He taught me a lot. You know, I mean, I learned a lot from him. You know, and we had a great locker room. Nobody had a locker room like ours.
No.
Yeah, that's what we're told that by a lot of people from ECW that ECW's locker room was amazing. There was, you know, you guys were family, were brothers. You guys were like had each other's backs no matter what.
It was like people don't want to admit it, but I mean, it was a kind of like a competition. Like we were all tight knit, we all protected each other, but we all competed against each other because we watched that monitor. Okay, I watched the first match. I watched the second match. I watched the third match. Maybe I'm later on that night. You know what I'm saying? So everybody who watches that monitor knows, look, I got to be better than that match. I got to be better than that match. I got to be better than that match. But we use psychology, man. You know what I'm saying? We didn't do all this crazy shit that they're doing today. It's different. They don't have the, you know, we used old school psychology. You know, we brought especially the PitBulls, we always brought the fans in our match. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Bill.
So the '90s for the PitBulls and ECW. How was it breaking in together with Anthony?
Oh, back again with Ant.
Yeah, with the ECW. I believe it was
It was
Francine that
good. It
brought
was
you
good.
in.
See, in '94, I went by myself, and I started
Hmm.
by myself. I got the television title. I honestly didn't even want the title. That's how
Oh,
like stupid I was. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize, how prestigious that belt is. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Paul's face was like, "What do you mean you don't want it?" I'm like, "I don't want it. I'm a tag team." He's like, "Listen, just let me put this on you, man. You're ready. You're ready." And I'm like, "All right, if you say so, I'll do it." But when Ant comes back from Germany, we're going back to our tag. I said, "You could talk to Todd about it." Because Todd was kind of our agent. You know what I mean? Todd, I've known Todd for as long as I've been in the business, man. You know what I'm saying? And he
Hmm.
always had my back. So,
Right.
so I was just like, I'll do it if you promise that we'll be tag team. And he said, yeah. And as soon as he saw Anthony, I mean, he was just like, hell yeah. Xant came back from Germany in great shape. Because remember, they do rounds there, not just matches. It's different.
Right. Yeah.
So he had to be in phenomenal shape. So yeah, like I said, it was tough because at that point, me and Anthony were the top tag team. You know what I mean? And we dominated everything. And we were like Paul's lynchmen. Like if Paul said, "Go grab that guy out of the crowd and get him the hell out of here," or give him to the cops, we would do it. We didn't
Right.
care. So yeah, it was good. Every tag team that came to ECW, I'm talking every single tag team except Public Enemy, okay, had to go through the Pitbulls their first night there.
Wow.
Okay.
That's what Paul did. He
Okay.
intimidated them because of our finish. Everybody hated our finish because it was pretty. A super bomb from the top rope. You're up there, man. You know what I mean? Higher than as high as a cage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back,
Yeah.
and it's a blind landing as well.
Hmm.
So I mean, I used to see guys' faces. They'd be like, "Oh shit." All I can say is tuck your chin, like you were trained
Yeah.
to.
Tuck your chin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So I got a question from the guy in the chat. He wants to know how was it working? How was it working with Troy Martin?
Oh, Shane Douglas.
Yeah.
Shane's a great worker. Good psychology. I broke my neck working with Shane.
Okay.
He gave me a move and I took the bump wrong. I took it like a DDT instead of a face. But I should have did a face bump, right to my belly.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I took it like a DDT, and my top of my head hit the belt. And when it happened, all I heard was the crack,
Oof.
and I was out, man. I mean, all I saw was white. So I wiggled my toes and fingers, and I was like, okay. I came to, and then I was like, okay, I can move. So I rolled out real carefully.
Yeah.
And that was a Saturday night, so I didn't know. To me, I just thought I jammed my neck. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because in my mind, my education, I was always told if you break your neck, you could die. You'll die. So I was like, I couldn't have broke my neck. I'd be dead. So that was Saturday night. So by Monday, I went to a chiropractor. He wrote me out a CAT scan immediately. As soon as he saw me, he was just like, go to the hospital. I went to the hospital, and they just tied me down, man, and said, you broke C1 vertebrae. And I'm like, what are you talking about? C1, I should be paralyzed at minimum. Not even that dead, but paralyzed at least.
Right.
And they were like, I said, let me get up and take a leak. They're like, no, you ain't going fucking nowhere. And I'm like, I drove here. What the fuck are you talking about? I
Right.
drove my car here with a broken neck.
Right.
And fuck. Next thing you know, I'm being surrounded by doctors and shit.
Jeez.
It was fucking crazy, man. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. I was worried that I was going to have to get surgery, and then I would have had to get my neck fused, and you know what that means. I mean, my career is probably over. You know what I mean? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was thinking. That's how fucked up my head was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then finally they came up to me and said, listen, we came to the conclusion, number one, your spinal cord is like, your fluid's like this big. That's twice the size of a normal person, which we don't understand why that is. And second of all, you broke C1, you cracked it, but when you cracked it, your muscle, like I had traps up to here, you could watch. When I had the TV built, you saw my traps.
Oh yeah.
They saved my life. Yeah, they saved my life, bro. That's exactly what they said. They came to that conclusion, 15 fucking doctors. You know, they said, listen, the only thing I could say is your muscle saved your life. That you don't know. You should be dead. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So I just looked at him and said, all right, so what's up? You have to do surgery? They go, no, we just got to put a halo on you for 6 weeks so the bone will heal. It didn't, it just cracked this way. It didn't move. If it would have moved this way, you would have died.
Damn.
But since it went cracked this way, you know, we could just halo you like a broken bone and for 6 weeks, and then they will heal.
Yeah.
And I looked at them and said, fuck you are. I said, no, because I've seen guys with a halo on, you know what I mean? And I look at that and say, holy shit, they got bolts going into their fucking skull. Like, how fucking crazy and hardcore is that? You know what I mean? I'm like, no fucking way. I said, you know what I mean? I would always see that because I'd be at Todd Gordon's all the time. He's right across the street's a hospital. So I would see that shit. It would freak me out. So they're like, all right, wrestler, tough guy. All right. So they pulled me out of my room, onto my bed, and put me in the hallway. And they left me in the hallway. And I was like, oh, fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess this is fucked up, you know, because they're like, look, you sign yourself out, man, and if you fucking sneeze, you're going to die.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Do you understand? Do you understand what we're telling you? And I'm just like, no. So next thing you know, 15 minutes later, I was hearing all these sirens and shit. Next thing you know, they pushing this kid by me. He had to be maybe 11, 12, 13 years old. He had a fucking halo on.
Damn.
So as soon as they pushed him by me, the doctor came out and said, listen, motherfucker, tough guy. If that kid could do it, you could do it. Now let's go. I said, well, then, you got to give me something. I got anxiety. so he gave me a shot of Demerol, which really just made me nauseous, to be honest with you. And then they brought me downstairs. And I'm wide awake, and they laid me on this table, and they got an X-ray machine on me, and they're making sure my neck is perfectly, you know, how it has to be. And then they start, bro. They get a fucking syringe, and they just go wham right in your fucking skull, and try to numb it a little bit. And you're wide awake when this is happening.
No fucking way.
I'm not.
Yeah. Then they put this contraption on your body, and they put these bolts on, and then they start drilling, bro. And you hear it. Imagine in your ears, in your head, you hear it, man, going, and eventually you have 6 pounds of pressure each bolt. So I had 24 pounds of pressure squeezing my skull. So what happened, my body completely locked up.
Yeah.
And it took 6 hours for me just to be able to sit up. You know what I mean? Because my whole entire body was in, like, my brain said something's wrong, you know, protect. And that's what happened. You know, that's how, I mean, it took at least 10 hours for me to get out of the hospital after they put that on me. Yeah, it was fucking, dude. Then when I went home, you know, you remember I have to wear it for 6 weeks. So for the first 10 days, bro, I didn't even fucking sleep. I was tripping. Because when you lay back, it's like your head's not touching a pillow. It's connected to your body, and when you move, you're not this. You know what I'm saying? It was the worst thing ever. Thank God it was in the summertime, though, man. Because this way, at the time, I was married and she would just hose me down in the backyard, you know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't go in the shower because of the fact that it was a metal thing. I couldn't do a shower. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of, that sponge bath bullshit, I'll be like, I'm going in the bath and just hose me down and then changed my pad. I went on my chest and my back and that was it. And that was 6 fucking weeks of that bullshit.
Wow. Teddy Smith, he came with another question. He's a referee, like I said, at XIW Extreme Impact Wrestling here in Panama City. It's a promotion that I follow. He wants to know, what role did you have bringing in the Queen of Extreme, Miss Francine?
I didn't. I think Todd Gordon and Paul were already going to do it. It was just at the time they brought her in, I guess, to do something with Stevie Richards and get him over. Remember, she was a plant in the crowd. And then what happened was, that angle I think was coming to an end, and they were just like, okay, what are we gonna do with her? And they're like, you know what? Well, let's put her with the PitBulls. Let's let her manage the PitBulls, because she was over and we were over. I mean, even heel or face, we wrestled the same fucking way. That's how the PitBulls were anyway. It didn't make a difference. You know what I'm saying? We never changed our style. You know what I'm saying? Unless we're in Mexico or Japan, we're a little rougher. Mexico, we're just a little bit more faster. And that's the one thing about my tag team. We were able to adapt very quickly.
Okay. You want to go with another question from the chat? Is Dan wants to know, is there any modern wrestlers who caught your eye lately?
Lately? Wow. All my Samoan friends they're like taking over WWE. I mean, shit. I like the Young Bucks as a tag team. Only reason why, just their work ethic. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying their spot ethic, the way they do spots, the way they both come in the ring at the same time, they're both out of the ring at the same time. That to me is a good tag team. So I follow them. I do like Steiner's kid. He's a big boy. He's going to be doing good for Vince. I think Roman Reigns is going to probably be rolling soon. I thought the John Cena last match was kind of strange.
Yeah, it was definitely
At least the finish.
Yeah.
Especially people in the business. If you're in the business, you know what that meant. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was like laughing his way to the back. You know what I mean?
Bill?
What connection did you have with the Dudleys? You were telling me a story the other day. I think they deserve to hear it.
Say that one more time.
The story with you and the Dudleys. How did that come to be?
Before the Dudleys even got there?
Yeah, before they got called Dudleys.
Oh yeah, we were in the back, and we would always look for new talent. Every town we would go in, and then one night I remember Raven's like, "Oh man, I watched Slapshot." So then next thing you know, I watched it, and a couple of guys watched it, and Raven had a great idea. He's like, we have to get another tag team here. You know what I mean? Because we were bringing tag teams in, out. You know what I'm saying? They'd come in, they'd leave. And we were like, you know what? The Hanson brothers were fucking badass. You know what I'm saying? They were just tough motherfuckers. So Raven came up with an idea. Why don't we have a pro wrestler, who back in the day, I'm talking the Sheik days, would go around in every city he was in, he would bang a woman and get him pregnant. And they'd have a baby. So that's where the Dudleys came from. And the idea was to bring in like 2, 3, 4, 5 Dudleys, and I'm talking all different, race, color, creed, you name it. You know what I'm saying? Indian, that didn't matter. He would not. He was just a very fertile guy, the Dudley from Dudleyville. And we went through about some guys from Florida, some guys from up north. We went through probably like between 6 and 9 different Dudleys. before we got the Big Dick Dudley and Devon Dudley and Bubba Dudley and Sign Guy Dudley and you know what I'm saying? And I forgot the Indian.
Chubby Dudley?
Yeah, Chubby Dudley. Absolutely.
Dances
Chubby
with Dudley.
Yeah, but once we got Bubba and Devon, we knew that was it because they were both athletic. You know, Bubba just couldn't talk at that point. He couldn't cut a promo to save his life. So that's why Paul said, look, just go, you know what I'm saying? And, Alex, Big Dick, unbelievable dude, man. The funniest guy, the nicest guy in the world. Big motherfucker, man. A tractor trailer hit him, okay, while he was in his car. He lived, and he still showed up at the show for that Saturday night at the arena. Now, you tell me if that's fucking amazing or what.
Yeah.
So I was reading about you, and I was scrolling through some stuff, and I don't know if any of this is true, but there was a controversial theory you had about Vince McMahon secretly owning AEW because of how many WWF or WWE guys went over to AEW. Is that a true story?
I probably mentioned it because there is a con that works for Vince McMahon. Well, at that time worked for Vince McMahon.
Okay.
Dude, I didn't even know Vince had his hand in ECW until I found out later. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
I didn't even know that either.
If he sees something that's threatening to him, he's going to get his hands and wrap it around it. You know what I'm saying? At that time, that's how he was. He was very competitive. I mean, he wanted to shut down the Monday Night Wars was insane. I mean, he could be pissed off all he wants, but it made him money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it made Ted Turner money, even though Ted Turner just wrote it off as a loss because of all the money he was paying everybody.
Right. All right. I read that. I was like, nah, I got to ask about that because that was kind of. But I didn't know about it. I didn't know he even had his hands in ECW. Even so, that's crazy.
Yeah,
but it makes sense.
Toward the end, I think Taz actually started it off. Taz was like, Paul pushed him so hard and got him over so much when he changed his gimmick. He called him Taz, the suplex machine, and Taz got over so much he drove to Connecticut and had a meeting with Vince because Vince figured, I'll take their top guy, you know what I'm saying, and hurt him. But maybe Paulie set that up. Who knows? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
All I know is he did that, and then that's when we all were scratching our head, like, what's going on? What's happening here? And then people started jumping ship. I could have left early and went to WCW with Raven and the Fly.
Yeah.
But I had to get knee surgery, so Perry Saturn took that spot quick. And that was cool. I had no problem with that. I stayed loyal. We stayed loyal to Paul, pretty much almost to the end, right before they got on TNN.
Mm-hmm.
That country western station, whatever the fuck that is. You know what I'm saying? We were like, right before they got on that, we did the last pay-per-view in Pittsburgh because we were going to work for WCW. That's what we gave them our 2-week notice.
All right. Bill.
You mentioned WCW. How was the leave for WCW when you did leave?
Well, we worked for WCW many times. Because anytime they were in Atlantic City, they knew we were in New Jersey, Philadelphia. It's an hour to 30-minute ride. So they would call us up and we would go work. One night I tug up with Sid Vicious against the Steiners in AC for WCW. And it was awesome. Anthony worked Matt Bourne. It was Josh, that gimmick.
Yep.
And it was cool because Flair was still there. And Flair remembered us in North Carolina, and he always told us that the gimmick, So when we pulled up in a Range Rover and he saw us, he stopped dead in his tracks, man, and pointed. He's like, "You motherfuckers, you're living the gimmick." I'm like, "Hell yeah, man!" And he was always cool, So We went there, worked a couple times, and I remember Candido was there with Tammy trying to get a job. I remember,
Mhm.
and like I said,
So the Pitbulls had a rivalry with the Gangsters, New Jack and Mustafa. What was that like? Can you talk about that?
yeah. Honestly, really didn't really do much with them. I'll be honest with you. We worked with them a little bit. It was a night off. To be perfectly honest with you, a night off.
All right.
Jack. I was very good friends with Jack. Jack was a good friend of mine. He would always call me every 2 weeks, check up on me. People don't realize, New Jack is it's a gimmick, man. You know what I'm saying? Jack's crazy, great cook too.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he he has a soft side, and if he likes you, you're friends forever, and he's got your back forever. And that's how it is. But like Sabu, same way. But Jack don't take no shit. You stiff him, he'll take a blade out and stab you. If you disrespect him, he'll fight you. He may lose, but he'll still fight you. He don't give a fuck.
Wow.
What's that old man that's in the Carolinas? The hell's his name? Gypsy Joe. Did you see him beat the shit out of him?
Yes.
Was that?
Yeah.
That was. I felt that was crazy. I felt bad for Gypsy Joe, but Gypsy Joe stiffed him, man. Gypsy's a fucking crazy fuck anyway. I mean, he beat the shit out of him.
So you said that. That brings back a question that I want to ask. How much of the ECW's matches were shoot stuff? Just go out balls to the wall, beat the piss out of each other, and at the end of the day, you guys go back and how compared to today's stuff where they, talk in the ring, blah blah blah. How much back in the ECW days when you were there was all shoot?
Well, a lot of it, because Paul would give us a lot of, in other words, he would say, listen, you're professional wrestlers, right? Yes. Okay. Use your insight, use your brain. This is what I want as a finish. Now make a story. Tell a story to get this finish. Can you do that for me? And we were just like, where Vince would be like, this is what I want, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you know what I'm saying? And it's scripted out totally. Do you understand?
Right.
Like even when I worked for Vince, it was different back in the 80s. You got to remember, it was totally different. You would just get a finish. You got 5 minutes, go out there, and he may give you this. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was, but we learned. So, but Paul was like, use your intelligence and, make this happen, which was great because that's freedom, to express ourselves, you know what I'm saying? And, it made our character, we could make our character the way we want, you know what I'm saying? Because when Raven came in, the first thing he did was grab me and Anthony and Stevie Richards. He figured I'll make Stevie my lackey. He'll take all my bumps, and the pit bulls are my muscle. And that's what he did. And I learned a lot from Raven. Raven's a genius too. He would go out every night we were at a club or partying. He'd have a napkin and he'd be writing shit down. Spots. Really? Oh yeah, spots, angles. Oh, dude. People have no idea, man. It's crazy.
Right. Wow.
So he would bring those napkins with him to the show and wait and say, "Yo, Paul, check this out. Huh? Hey, check this out." Because Paul would come to the show. I'm not kidding you. He had no idea what was going to happen that night. He would sit at a table with a piece of paper and start writing shit down, and nobody would, and everybody could, like, they would stand around. Like, I've been there since the beginning. The only time I wasn't there was when Eddie Gilbert was there. Okay, that was the only time I wasn't there. So I knew, and Anthony knew, like, we just chilled in the back with the Public Enemy and just chilled, man, and partied and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we knew Paul would say, "All right, Gare, Public Enemy, come up." this is what I want tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was like, don't hover. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I have another question from. Sorry, Bill. I'll let you go after this. Best person to have the road story with. Do you have any road stories, and who was the best one to be on the road with?
I was always on the road with Sandman, Ty Gordon, uh, Rick Rude. He was funny. That was a trip. Man. But my partner, I mean, it would be hilarious us on the road. I mean, if we had a video camera, like if we had cameras like we do now, that shit would be Netflix would be handing me a fucking check right now, man. That's how crazy we were. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're cruising up and down north, well, from Philly to North Carolina. You know what I mean? And what do we do? Oh man, I feel weak. He's drinking wine the whole fucking trip. I'm driving. It was only 8 hours. Damn, let's get a shot of test. We're in the Carolinas somewhere driving. We pull over, go behind a gas station. Next thing you know, a cop pulls up. I'm giving myself a shot of test in my ass. And a cop pulls up and he's looking at him and me like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Like we were already big, you know what I'm saying? But we were only 19 years old, 20 years old maybe. And the cop was just like, what are you fucking doing? I said, dude, I'm taking my test. I said, it's legal. What the fuck are you talking about? At 17, it was legal. Doctor gave it to me. Then they made it illegal because kids were using it as an excuse to get off committing crimes. Well, other than that, yeah, but so the cop would just laugh at us and be like, yeah, man, just get out of my state, But Sandman was cool because the road stories with him was awesome due to the fact that he had a van. So you could fit, me, Sandman, Todd Gordon, Sabu, Too Cold Scorpio. Who am I forgetting? Anybody? Rob Van Dam. Like we had a nice little. The Philly clique was pretty cool. Raven would be with us. We had a good Philly clique. Of course, Public Enemy, Sandman, definitely. But then, like I said, when Paul got in, that's when the New York clique started, forming. That was Taz and Perry, because me and Anthony ran the wrestling school in Philadelphia, the ECW school, and Taz and Perry Saturn had another school in New York City. Okay. So that's when the company started to the locker room was starting to kind of split up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Bill.
All right, so you've held almost every tag title for every company you've ever worked for with the PitBulls, correct?
Just about, yeah.
Sleep in your clothes.
How was that being on the road, having all them different tag titles?
Heavy lifting.
What?
At one time, me and Anthony had 3 belts each, so we had 3 titles at once. So we had the EC title, we had the fucking Puerto Rico title, Carlos Colon, and then we probably had another title from Japan or somewhere. But we never had the WWF titles. That was something that would have been awesome, or the WCW. But I'm not bullshitting. I mean, even when I was in Melbourne, Australia, working for Hardcore Championship Wrestling, the top guys. Nails was the champ. Hawk from the Road Warriors was there. So the Bruise Brothers were there. The Headhunters were there. The Samoans were there. So our tag, and we had the belts. I was in Puerto Rico, we had the belts. It didn't make a difference. We actually we did Carlos a favor and trained Thunder and Lightning because that's what he asked us to do. And he said no problem. And that's why he liked us.
Mikey, hurry up so you can put your clothes on.
Let's talk about your book that you wrote. Can you tell us about that? Where can fans get the book? Tell us what it's centered around.
It's called PitBull Unleashed. It's like from when I was a kid to present day, how I got into business, what obstacles I had to go through. My father sent me to a military school in Chatham, Virginia. when I was like late 70s, when I was in 6th grade, 5th grade. Huh? Yeah. Oh yeah, you got to go to Amazon, Walmart.com, Barnes and Noble. It's called PitBull Unleashed.
Okay.
It's a good. I mean, it's a good read, man. It's a quick read, so about not even 200 pages, but it's it's a quick thing. You know what I mean? And I'm very blunt about everything, how we started. You know, me and Anthony are from the same town. We went to the same school. You know, my girl I'm with now, same school, same town. It's crazy.
Mhm.
You know, shit happens, and it was meant to be, I wish he was still here, because if he was here, man, we'd be rocking and rolling right now, man.
Yeah.
Because I can still work my ass off.
Yeah.
I just got back from Scotland, bro. I did a 20-minute dog collar against one of their top guys there called the Crowbar. Why would they call him Crowbar? Yeah. So, and then when I asked him, how many dog collar matches have you had? He was like, 1. I was like, what? I was like,
Wow.
oh shit. And I still 5-star match, 20 minutes to the T, and it went off like a bang, man. So I can't wait to go back. Shout out to Valor Wrestling.
So how long ago was that?
Last month.
Really? And a dog collar match. Man.
Left Friday, and I was home by Monday. 10 hours on a plane Friday, 10 hours on a plane Monday. It's
Damn.
crazy. Yeah, man, I haven't did that in a while, man. So
that's impressive, man.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
That's impressive shit. Holy cow. Bill?
So what does the PitBull do these days other than going to Scotland? Do you have anything going on in state?
Oh yeah, right now I started wrestling for vets. Also VPW. If you're in Florida and you're watching this and you're near Brooksville, January 24th at the Marine Base, the Guardians, 708. We're having a kick-ass show. Come out there and check it out. I'm doing signings, autograph signings. I can still work, so I can wrestle. I've been wrestling Shane a lot. Or I've been tagging up with Shane a lot, believe it or not. They put us together. Yeah, which, to make a little swerve, and people loved it. So, yeah, I'm doing seminars when I need to. Did one in Scotland, which was very successful. Always looking for autographs. I have brand new baseball cards that just came in. I got 2 action figures. 2 companies are coming out with our action figures, me and Anthony, for the Pitbulls. One's actually going to do a Japan-style version, which is cool as shit. Because in Japan, they call us Mad Bull Bastards. You know what I'm saying? That's the gimmick, because I own the Pitbulls. I trademarked it. And over there, they want to own and trademark everything in the 90s when I went there for New Japan anyway. That's when all them guys are making all that big money.
So, ready for some quick fire questions. ECW Mount Rushmore.
ECW Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, who would that be?
Terry Funk, Rob Van Dam, Sabu, Cactus Jack.
All right. Yeah. How about Raven? Is Raven on there?
Yeah, I mean, if you take Cactus Jack and Terry Funk off,
okay,
I honestly would put Raven and probably Sandman.
Like my favorite. Well, I'll be honest with you. I loved watching you and Raven. That was probably one of my favorite ECW moments. You guys, that was just epic. So the same guy, Teddy Smith, who's the referee up here in Panama City, he's listening to this and he heard you talk about your event coming up. He wants to know, you need any referees?
I have a line. Actually, I have one too many, but I will let him know. Absolutely. If you How long has he been in the business?
How long you been in the business, Teddy? While he's answering that question, who is the single most toughest opponent you ever faced?
Strength wise, or just a tough motherfucker?
Tough motherfucker.
Have to be Samoans. I mean, I wrestled Rodney many times, and he was like almost 400 pounds, and he would move like a 200 pounder. I mean, he was so fast and strength. I mean, I'll give you an example. Vader, he's another one. And my partner went out drinking with the Samoans, and I had a headache that night, so I stayed in the hotel real quick. And next thing you know, I hear all this noise, and I look out my window, and I see Samu with Anthony on his shoulders. And Anthony had to weigh at least 260 pounds, maybe 270, And this Samoan is actually going up a spiral staircase, 9 stories, to bring him to our floor. And I'm just like, holy shit. And he throws him on the bed, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? And he's like, oh, Vader knocked him out because Anthony's like, Vader, can I have a sip of your VO? And Vader's like, yeah, no problem. This is when Vader was mean. He was young. He just started, in the business. Very mean motherfucker, pro football player, very strong. So Anthony grabbed the bottle, went, blah, 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 and slammed it down, and Vader just fucking, got to give you the sound effect, right across the face, and knocked him the fuck out. So I looked at them, I'm like, well, so what's going on? They're like, nothing, man. We're just going to make sure he's okay, him and Rodney, And next thing you know, we're going to leave the door open a crack. And I'm like, okay, they're going to rib him. I know they're going to rib him. Wouldn't you know, at 6 a.m. in the morning, I hear screaming. I go across the room. Anthony's in the shower. He's got tic-tac-toe on his chest and black magic marker and like writings all over him. The bed had, it's like the Samoans did a seance or something. Like toothpaste was surrounding him. They made the pentagon like a devil thing, and they totally ribbed him. And then I'm like, and he's like, look at me, because he was still drunk. And I'm like, bro, have you looked in the mirror yet? And he was like, what do you mean? And at this time, they did this to get him pissed off because Anthony, he was still a little insecure. It was our first tour, Believe it or not, he was, we were in front of we were in front of 30,000 people every night, not counting the Tokyo Dome, which is 65. So, we had to break him out of his shell. That's how Bammer put it. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, next thing you know, I said, look in the mirror, bro. If you didn't look in the mirror, you better look in the mirror. And he looked in the mirror, and half his head was shaved. His eyebrows were off. And he's like, go get your clippers. So I went and got my clippers, and he shaved everything off. And you could see how mad he was getting, bro. The meanness came out, man. And I said, dude, you got to take this out on whoever we're working tonight. You understand me? Okay? They like us. That's why they ribbed you. You know what I mean? Otherwise, they don't give a shit. When they got me when I was 26 years old, they had 26 on my ass for 3 months. It wouldn't come off. They stripped me naked. Yeah, they stripped me totally naked and put me on a fucking trash can in front of a road stop. They're all in there eating, and PitBull, the Japanese, are walking by taking pictures with me and shit. And then they brought me in the Tokyo Palace, which is connected to the Dome and Corrigan Hall, and put me in there in front of like 600 people in the lobby and dropped me in my room. If my partner didn't come, they must have used about 50, 60 rolls of tape. They taped my complete body, and then they cut all my clothes off.
Holy shit.
Great red. Yeah, but I told them, I said, don't cut my fucking hair, motherfuckers. I'll get you. Yeah. So nobody shaved anything. They just abused me pretty good, man. But it was good. It was funny.
Awesome. So Teddy says, he goes, trained for 3 years, used to set up the ring and chair for Larry Sharp. He'll send you his information. He's a big ECW guy. He's a big ECW guy. He went to every show in Philly. XIW, his company, they copy ECW, that style. So,
gotcha. Yeah. Just tell him to send me a friend request on Facebook.
There you go, Teddy. Send them a friend request on Facebook, man.
It's Gary Wolf.
Gary Wolf.
No E.
Bill, you have no E. Yeah, don't mess up the entrance like I did. No E.
Yeah.
Or he's gonna come to Florida to Panhandle, find you, tape you up, put you in a trash can, and do whatever. Bill, you have any final questions?
So we touched on figures. Me and Gary actually worked on a project a little while back. So we made a PitBull 1 with the tattoos,
Okay.
with
Nice.
the PitBull 2 tattoos as well.
Nice.
TV
Matching
title you got on
TV
me.
title.
Nice. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You guys, when are you gonna send me my action figure, brother?
We got to get back together on that. But we're on it. And then we made the later years Gary one.
I like that. I like
With
this year's one. Yes,
his
thank you. That looks good.
vest.
Yeah, you made the vest perfect. Fuck.
Took every detail you had and I put it on there for you.
Mhm.
So now let me
Tattoos
understand.
all around.
Now you paint all that, right, Bill?
So most of it's paint. So the tattoos and some of the imagery you see on vests and stuff is actually decals that are printed.
Okay.
All in-house made though.
All right.
Gary actually took
Very
the time
nice.
and he actually sent me his updated tattoos while he was, I think he was home one night. I told him, I was like, I need pictures of these tattoos. He sent me over pictures that night and we put them right on figure.
Yeah, they look good, man. Looks good.
So before we go, is there anything you would have to say to new people getting into the business? What they should pay attention to, things that the newbies are doing wrong that they should like take from the legends like you. What would that be?
Number one, watch old tapes from the 80s, the 70s, the 60s even. Watch old tapes. Look how these guys tell a story. What brings the crowd in? What makes them want to pay that money to watch you? You understand what I'm saying? Walk into a locker room with respect. Leave your fucking ego at the fucking door, okay? Especially if you're in my fucking locker room, okay? That's number one. Number two, you go up to every single person that's in that locker room. Look them in the eye, shake their hand, tell them your name, and introduce yourself. You understand? And you go around to everybody. I don't care who they are. Show everybody respect. Because if they're in that locker room, they're in that locker room because they did something right. That's how I look at it. If you're at a good show and you have a nice house, you understand what I'm saying? Not a mud show or a shit show like they do around here that we changed completely. And I love to say that. Thank you for the house. You know, go up to the main event, shake their hands and say, thank you for the house. Show respect for the main event match because they're the ones that drew that fucking crowd. I know you're on the show. These kids today think they're entitled automatically to be on a poster. That drives me fucking crazy, bro. Even though how stupid that is, drives me insane. I would be, back when I broke in '87, we were lucky to be in print, not alone a picture, okay? If we got a picture on a poster, we were like, oh my God. If we had our name, the PitBulls versus the Headbangers, we were so happy. You understand what I'm saying? You have to earn that. And until you earn it, then you get on the poster, okay? So that's my new motto for the year. So when I make my posters, I'm going to have maybe 8 people on it. The 4 main matches, and that's it, man. Everybody else has to earn their way on that poster, like it or not. That's how I'm doing it.
There you go. So I just have to ask you, if I name drop some people from their old school guys, John Saxon, Adrian Whisper. Do you know those guys?
The names sound very familiar. You got to remember, guys, I can't tell you how many concussions I've had. I can't even estimate. You know, so I'll sit here and have a conversation with you and forget what the fuck I was talking about, just like that.
You too, man. You too.
So,
Sorry about that.
no. One last thing before I go, because I heard my wife say something, and
Yeah, you
wife-
better jump, bro.
yeah, right. My wife is my biggest supporter,
That's
but she says this. I don't get what you're talking about because wrestling is fake as fuck.
no, it's not fake. It's not fake. Might have to Dr. D her, man. Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I broke my fucking neck. That's how fake it is.
Yeah.
You know. So
I'll tell her that
let's,
story.
yeah, let's think about that. Every bump we take hurts. I don't give a shit what anybody says. I'll take a guy off the street and give him a body slam, and I bet you $500 he will not get up. Okay, easily, no problem. It's not fake. It's predetermined. We're entertainers. That's all it is. We're trained to tell you a story, let you get into it, and enjoy yourself that night.
Awesome.
And scream at people, call them assholes. You know, whatever you want to do, just blow off steam. That's how I look at it.
Well, Mr. Wolf, I appreciate your time. Bill, I appreciate you being on the show. You're my Wednesday co-host. I appreciate you guys. Don't go anywhere, please, Mr. Wolf. As I close out the show, I want to talk to you off camera. But yes. Huge Pop Entertainment again brings you Drop the Mic with Gary Wolf, Pitbull #1. He had some ECW stories that were off the charts. I'll have this post up on YouTube here's by the end of the night. So everybody who doesn't watch it now can watch it later. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Those are the two places I want to be followed on. That's where we do a lot of our work. Again, we are sitting here with Pitbull #1, Gary Wolf. He shared a bunch of stories, ECW. And you know what? ECW for life, right?
ECW, man. It's a cult following. Listen, how long has it been? Over 20-something years? 25 years? Maybe more. We still have our cult following fans, and we love you, and we appreciate you because nobody's hardcore like ECW. We are extreme, always have, always will. We changed the wrestling business to the Attitude Era. If it wasn't for us, would Vince and WWE be where they are now? Who knows?
And there you have it. Gary Wolf, ECW, Pitbull #1. What the hell? End the stream, dude.
What's up, man?
Hold on. It's not ending my stream. This is dumb.
Uh-oh.
Having trouble connecting. Please check your. Oh, well, I guess
They love us. They don't want to let
They love us. They don't want us to go. It's not letting me end my. Wow. We're going to BS our way through this till it ends. But, Mr. Wolf, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
I'm going to say thank you, and it's going to be recorded. I'll have to edit it. I'll just keep this shit raw, right? We're raw. ECW is raw. We'll just keep it raw, man. Again, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Bill, I appreciate you setting this up.
Absolutely.
I'll get out a stamped addressed envelope to you with a return envelope, man. So I appreciate you signing me a couple pictures and sending it back, man. I appreciate that.
Not a problem, brother. It just makes it easier for me, and I can handle that easy with no problem.
All right, man. Thank you so much. And I guess you guys have a good night.
You too. Thanks, guys. I'll be talking to you, brother.
All right. Thank you,
Peace
guys.
out.
Peace out.
All right, buddy.
Nah, he's gone. I think.
I don't know what the fuck. Oops.
Fuck it. We'll be all right.
We're still alive.
Perfect.
What the
Listen,
hell?
we missed out on a good story. We should have kept him for 5 minutes.
Right?
We
Well,
should have kept him for 5 minutes. The ECW reboot, he's gonna fuck with. Oh my god, he gets hostile.
well, Bill, the only way to end this is to leave the stream. So, man,
Off I go.
I'll text, I'll face you, I'll get you on Facebook. Okay?
All right, talk to you soon, buddy.
Yeah, man.
See ya.